Hi there, and welcome to a day that just seemed to not want to go right, but in the end, it did all work out. Today's video is a bit of a unique one, in like 12 different ways. On this day, I was flying from Rome to Dublin, but with two stops. One ticket was from Rome to Edinburgh, and a separate ticket was from Edinburgh to Dublin. The reason for this is I needed my tier segments for BA's soon-to-be unalived executive club. So I bought the ticket to Edinburgh because it was the cheapest two-segment option from Rome. And then I bought an Aer Lingus flight to Dublin. Normally, Aer Lingus flights don't count towards tier segments, but I paid around £20 extra to buy through BA, which then made it count. Anyway, before we get into all of that, let me welcome any of you that may be new to the channel. My name is Kevin, and I am the Flip Flop Traveler. I'm a full-time creator with an eye to the skies and the beaches, and I enjoy my flip-flops nearly as much as I enjoy being honest and unclickbaity in my self-funded videos. If you'd like to know more about the channel, or me, scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Have a look around the channel. There are hundreds of airline and hotel reviews to enjoy. This, it's kind of my own damn mistake flight duo, begins now. I mean, just brace yourself, because the tone of this video is going to be 2 clicks south of whining. So just sit back and relax and enjoy my poor decisions and the events of the day. Let's start out with Terminal 5 here at London Heathrow. This terminal was opened as BA's flagship terminal in 2008, the mothership if you will. It is the largest freestanding structure in the UK, which I find really hard to believe, but Wikipedia said so yeah. Given that, it is staggering how undersized and poorly designed it is. It's as if they were sitting around in 2008 thinking, business isn't gonna grow anymore, it's done growing, so let's just build the thing for what BA does now. Surely they're not gonna get any bigger. Every turn you take, it just feels like it's even more crowded. And mind you, this is a Thursday, non-peak period, non-holiday weekend, afternoon. This is just normal. Now, as if I didn't have it already, can I please have the floor for a moment just to moan about the changes to the Executive Club? On January 1st, millions of people around the globe woke up to a notification that BA's loyalty program would be changing to the British Airways Club. Very creative name. Wonderful. Here's the thing. Every airline is continuously changing their programs for the worse. That's just the way it is. It's not going to change, so I'm not complaining about that. What I'm complaining about is the absurd calculations that people need to do now this year just to figure out if they're going to requalify, since they also changed their loyalty years. So first we need to figure out if we're going to requalify for this next year based on the first 4 months of the year plus the last 10 months of last year, but in a retroactive capacity. Something like that. Then, for partner flights booked before January 1st, they're going to count one way towards tier points, but flights booked after that will be calculated another way. And flights booked via BA, American, and Iberia will be calculated another way. Honestly, I do this crap for a living. I have all of my flights for 2025 booked already, and even I cannot figure out if I'm going to qualify for anything. Okay, breathe. It's gonna be okay. If anything, this just makes me love Air France Flying Blue even more. But I'd be lying if I didn't think that this change at BA was giving Air France permission to do exactly the same thing. So I may have forgotten to mention that my flight from Rome landed late, but my flight from Heathrow also was delayed, so fine and fine. But I had a short connection in Edinburgh already. Since I showed you the full A319 experience in my video from last week, I'll be brief with this one. But happily, this A320 did have the newer interior, though not the new interior. I had an exit row for this flight and enjoyed very much so having a headrest and a seat back that actually reached my head. One thing I'll mention if you ever book an Aer Lingus flight via BA. First, don't. Second, I'm telling you this because there is zero information about this online. I wasn't allowed to choose a seat on my next flight. I also could not genuinely figure out what my baggage allowance was. Aer Lingus does this weird thing where they allow a small amount of checked-in baggage for free, but a carry-on is, like, illegal. And if you want to carry on, you need to book priority such and such, and it wouldn't allow me to do that either. I called Aer Lingus, they were quick to pick up, so credit for that. They chose a seat for me and told me that it was not possible to buy the carry-on since it was a code share flight, and I could try at the check-in counter, but there was no guarantee whatsoever. Also, that BA's policy applied for baggage, so I had 20 kilos of allowance to check in. Also, I wouldn't be eligible for online check-in. Lovely, like what did I buy? I would just note that it's not like I'm trying to buy a ticket for Miat Mongolian Airlines via BA. BA owns Aer Lingus. BA controls this whole process. They could just make this easy. We pushed back and ended up taking off 76 minutes late. Mind you, my connection was meant to be 2 hours and 5 minutes. There was a menu on board for buy on board, but it just seemed that it was by request only for limited items. For everyone else, they went around with bottles of water and snacks. I was offered flapjacks or nuts. I had no clue what flapjacks were, so I went with the nuts. And the nuts were conveniently corn, so good job again. Soon enough, we were descending into an overcast Edinburgh. Of course, we parked at a remote gate, but the bus ride back and then the walk from the bus to the check-in desk wasn't that bad, around, 5 to 10 minutes in total. I got in line to check in. The check-in area is pretty small with the desks really close together. I proceeded to the agent in front of me and she told me she was for Turkish Airlines and gestured for me to go back in line and wait for the lady at the next desk, who was on the phone. I stood there, the only one in line, watching her gab away for a minimum 5 minutes, maybe a bit longer. Then she walked away, long enough that I was filming this by this point. She came back and I approached. I handed over my passport and the words, quote, "It's 3 minutes past check-in close," unquote, flew out of her mouth with the poise of a cinder block. I may have lost it, just a smidge. I've been standing here watching you talk on your cell phone for the last 10 minutes and you have the nerve to tell me that I'm late? That's the gist of it. She checked me in, quickly. You can see here, I finished checking in at 2:20. The flight's at 3:15. So at this point, I actually had a big sigh of relief. I entered security, another fairly big sigh of relief. The lines were not that long. I got in my queue, and from the moment that I put my bags and laptop and all in the trays, until when I got them back in my hands, was 26 minutes. Every single bag, not exaggerating, every single bag, was pulled aside for inspection. There was one inspector. I'm just estimating here, but it would be my best guess that he was eligible for retirement prior to my birth. He had one clear mission: find the liquids, and then lecture every single passenger about how not having all of their liquids in the proper sealed quart bag was in principle exactly the same thing as smuggling drugs into the country. I heard that exact line at least 8 times, including to myself because my cuticle cream was in a different part of my bag. By the time I got my stuff and finished properly cursing him out in my head, my flight was showing final call. Boarding gate 1 kilo. Some of you may know that the airport in Edinburgh is built in a straight line, and 1 kilo is the last gate. For the first time in Flip-Flop Traveler history, I ran. I was the last person to be scanned in. We all went through that door, and the door was closed behind me. And then we waited in that locked hallway for 15 minutes. At least our ATR does look very nice in the Aer Lingus livery. I didn't film boarding as I was last on board and it was a full flight. And these are tight aisles. Here you can see the seats, which I filmed after landing. I found my seat. Oh, joyous day. My neighbor had her crap spread all over my seat and seemed annoyed that I had the audacity to ask her to let me in. The overhead bins were all full and all shut already. Small problem, my bag doesn't fit under the seat because there's a big bar in the middle, so I had to hide it behind my legs. The lady next to me, I'm going to try not to curse. Here's the thing. Humans come in all shapes and sizes. My shape and size is not stick-like, nor is it small, and yet, I am a good seat neighbor, because I'm aware of this and I have common sense. I don't use shared armrests. I lean towards the wall, and I'm conscious of where my knee space ends. My neighbor, on the other hand, bless her heart, was apparently raised by a proud pack of manspreaders. I don't do size shaming, and I ask you to please not do it in the comments either, but when I say that 20% of my seat space above and below the armrest was taken up by her, I am not exaggerating. The option to buy a second seat exists for a reason. I did a series of 400 woosahs and tried to just pretend that I was comfortable. We pushed back, took off, and landed without incident. Thankfully, it was just an hour-long flight. I've never been to prison, but I imagine the feeling I had when my neighbor stood up was similar to what some people might feel when they're released from prison. Maybe. And so, I made it. In slightly less than one piece, but I made it. So, if you enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up button and subscribe. And if you hated this video, please click the thumbs up button and subscribe. Since, well, this is not my normal kind of video. I'll see you next time from Cabo, and thank you for enduring this one with me.